Good day, fellow Neverwinter players. If you find any of the information presented in this video useful, or if you have critiques, please hit me up on Twitch. That's at www.twitch.tv/Lord_Willow_. Today I plan to talk to you about prepping your character for the new Tower of the Mad Mage Trial. This video is not aimed at seriously elite endgamers, as they already have their own strategies for success. But rather, this video is aimed at people that will be able to gear up for the trial but may not yet be deemed elite. What I won't be talking about in this video are specific gear items or about trial mechanics themselves. If you are looking for trial mechanics, I strongly suggest checking out Sumei's Guide to the Tower of the Mad Mage. He has done an amazing job, and it should be mandatory viewing for anyone that wants to attempt the trial. Now on to the meat of the topic. The Tower of the Mad Mage is a 10-person trial as seen on Mod 17 preview. It is the toughest content created for Neverwinter to date, but don't let that dissuade you from running this content. Most of the difficulty is going to lie in understanding the mechanics and navigating those mechanics as a 10-person team. If all 10 players coordinate and play their parts, the trial should be doable even for players that are at the minimum threshold for entry. The trial does have a minimum item level of 24,000 for entry and features enemy stat ratings at 30,000. For early entry in the trial, I suggest living by this rule. Build to survive, then build to DPS. You need to be building your character to survive a pre-mitigation hit of at least 1 million damage. This means that if your only means to mitigate damage is your capped defense, then that 1 million hit is now going to hit for 500,000, which means if you have 500,000 hit points or less, you will be dead. Also remember that every time you die, you become easier to kill and you do less damage. That being said, if your job in the dungeon is to do DPS, you should be reaching the cap values for your offensive stats, specifically 80,000 armor pen, 80,000 accuracy, and 80,000 crit strike. If your job is to heal, then you should be focused on outgoing healing aimed for at least 40%, then power, then crit strike and severity. For survival, you should be focused on starting the trial with around 350,000 hit points as a DPS or healer, and at least 600,000 hit points for a tank. You should also come into the trial with 80,000 defense in order to hit your cap, and aim for at least 30% incoming healing, as well as get your crit avoidance and deflect as close to cap as is reasonable. Keep in mind that most players will not be able to perfectly balance out their stats or hit cap on all defensive stats. For survival, I also highly recommend the following mount insignia bonuses. Number 1, Barbarian's Revelry, which gives you a 1% hit point heal each time you land a critical strike. Number 2, Champion's Return, a heal for 10% of your hit points if you are dropped below 50% of your hit points, which does have a 60-second cooldown. And number 3, Survivor's Blessing, to receive a heal over time every time you deflect. Keep in mind, if you perfectly balance out your stat points, that you will probably need to run subpar gear, and as a result, lose DPS. This includes the Demon Lord set. The Demon Lord set does remain the best in slot artifact set for most DPS classes from a DPS perspective, but a dead DPS can't DPS. For all but the richest of players, the Demon Lord set will not allow you to either have enough hit points or the correct stats for balancing and reaching your caps. Once you have your cap values covered, then you can worry about power and combat advantage. Remember, focus first on meeting your stat cap values and surviving the fights, then worry about tuning your DPS. Other items you could pursue to be prepared for the trial are to invest in legendary mounts if your budget allows, focusing on mounts like the T-Rex, the Bat Swarm, and the Armored Griffin. You will also want to be prepared to use a rainbow of artifacts as your primary artifacts in order to debuff your target or boost party DPS. Be prepared to have the Wyvern Knives and Venom Storyteller's Journal, Staff of Flowers, or other artifacts available. Remember, this trial is going to be about boosting your entire team's DPS and survivability, not just your own. If you want to chase the Pain Giver chart, do it after you've had several successful runs with your current group. Until then, be prepared to do a little less DPS in order to possibly benefit your whole team. This trial is promising to be the toughest ever seen in the game, but as always, that doesn't mean the current group metas that are forming will be the only way to win. So I suggest you try to find a way that works for you. If you found this information helpful, please check out my Twitch TV channel. That's at www.twitch.tv/Lord_Willow_. Thank you for your time and have a good day.